Welcome to Shaped by Faith with your host, Theresa Rowe. To find out more about Shaped by Faith and Theresa Rowe, please visit shapedbyfaith.com or visit the YouTube channel, Facebook, or Instagram. And now, here is Theresa Rowe.
Welcome to Shaped by Faith, where we shape our bodies and our hearts for God's purposes. I'm your host, Theresa Rowe. Sylvia Beachy, she was my guest a few weeks ago. She is the co-founder of Rescue the Fosters, and that's a ministry that ensures foster youth have a stable, safe environment to grow and to thrive. So the organization also has advocates. They advocate for youth that are aging out of the system, and they support families navigating the family's juvenile court system to preserve and restore family bonds. Sylvia, honestly, I was just astonished with the first interview that we did a few weeks ago about what is happening in the foster care system. So before we get into this, and we're going to get into it because you have some updates and you want to share that, and God has given you a voice to be an advocate for the children. Just share real quick, what is Rescue the Fosters? And of course, I just said it, just a few things, but you can add more to it.
You did a really good job, Teresa, and thank you for having me back on. So Rescue the Fosters was actually founded to give parents a place to go, parents and children, a place to go, because when CPS comes into your life, you can't go to CPS and get help. So, and that's the same thing for foster kids. They tell the caseworkers what's going on, and it's just covered up. So that's what we do. We wanted a place to give support so that family had a place to go, that people would believe them, because the stories are so crazy, and what happens in foster care custody is way worse than what's happening in the biological homes, and people don't want to believe it because then that means the system is a fraud, right?
That's right.
So that's where the struggle is. That's literally where we're trying to get people to realize that children are being harmed every day. Right now, they are dying in state custody, and no one is doing anything about it. And they cover for the foster families, and these children need our help.
Well, let's talk about it, Sylvia. Okay, there's a case right now that you brought to my attention, and then on Facebook, you talk about that on your Facebook feed. It's with the Daly family and the devastating courtroom experience. So, can you tell us what happened during that hearing?
Yeah, and it's the juvenile court system, they are literally breaking the law, like literally. So if you go to my Facebook page, everyone, it's Sylvia Beachy. Um, I'm pretty loud, but the first post is from last Thursday, when we went to court. Actually, I think it was the 17th. So I don't want to say it was the 17th. We went to court. We got in there. We actually filed for Michaela to have an attorney, Heather Daly, which is her aunt. And she filed the documentation. She went into court. We were ready to go, like, start the hearing. And then the judge is like, no, this is a closed hearing. Well, this is something else people don't realize. They think that juvenile court is a closed court, but it's not. In the state of Georgia, it is an open court unless, and there are specific reasons, and it's basically like sexual abuse, which is not Michaela's case, like things like that, where you don't want the child to be exposed. But these judges, and this judge is Judge Amber Sorrows in Dawson County, she decided she was just going to close the court hearing. She denied Michaela's attorney and then told her that the appointed attorney that she had with her had withdrawn. And so Michaela was left without counsel.
How old is Michaela?
28. And
Wow.
so she kicked myself out, KK, she kicked Heather, we had a bunch of supporters, Stephanie, Joanne, she kicked all of us out. And when I asked the police officer, like, what law he was following, he said it's the judge's orders.
Unbelievable. Now, Michaela, all right, just so the attorney's name is in this
So
case?
the attorney's case that we're trying to get to represent her because the appointed court attorneys are not representing her. They're just one fell asleep in court, like literally fell asleep.
What's the child's name again, Sylvia?
So it's Michaela is the mother, and
Okay.
then the attorney is Heather, and their last name is Daly.
Okay.
And
And the child's name?
so I'm not allowed to say the child's
Okay.
name.
Okay. But
Yeah.
how old is the child?
So she has, Michaela is a single mom of three children. They're 8, 7. I think the youngest one is like 5. They're they're nonverbal, they're disabled, and they're in two separate homes in foster care. Uh, the caseworker is refusing to give the name of the foster parent, and the foster parent is supposed to be working with Michaela to
Mm-hmm.
make sure that they reunite. She doesn't know who the foster parents are. She doesn't know the daycare that they go to. They refuse to give the name of the daycare. Can you imagine having your
No.
child in care
Mm-mm.
and not knowing who has them or what daycare
No.
they go to?
No. So in the courtroom, the child was left in there by themselves without
Michaela,
representation.
well, Michaela was left in there without representation.
Okay. Okay. What is this? I mean, what does this reveal about the lack of accountability in family court? I mean, what are you supposed to do? What is someone supposed to do in this case?
Exactly. And that's what I was thinking. Where do we go? Because, and this is juvenile court, and this is another thing. Like, people don't realize that CPS is in juvenile court.
Can you tell us what CPS stands for, Sylvia, for people that may
Yeah,
not know? Yeah.
it's Child Protective Services.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Okay.
so the only thing I could think of was to go live. Just go outside and go live. Let the people know because I have been in a lot of cases in a lot of courtrooms, but I've never seen an attorney be kicked out of a court.
No, that sounds like a little fishy. Like I mean, there's something up with that. So, were you able to voice your concerns to anyone within the court system or not? Do they not listen? I mean, how does that
No,
work?
we can file a complaint, which that's what we're doing. We actually went over to the police department to file a police report because she
Mhm.
actually broke the law, and the police refused to make a report.
Unbelievable. I don't understand why the system is working like this. Is this always been the case?
Yes, but it's more rampant and it's because they're not following the law. So the way that they have it set up, because the police are supposed to uphold the law, correct?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, but they don't follow the law, they go by the judge. So whatever the judge is saying is what they're saying the law is. So they don't know the law. They're just following the orders, and that's their
Mm-hmm.
excuse. Their
Mm-hmm.
excuse is, oh, I'm just doing my job.
Now, you gave me an update, which we weren't able to discuss really before we went on today. So, why don't you give us an update of what's going on with this?
So yesterday, Michaela had a visit with her children, and she arrives at the visit. The transporter was like, did the caseworker tell you what happened to them? They got attacked at the daycare center. The two oldest one, they said another child, sorry,
You're fine.
they said another child attacked them, and um, they were beat up. Like one of them had a knot on her head, the other one had a black eye. You could literally see the vessel broken in his eye. And the caseworker did not call and tell Michaela this happened.
Wow, that is unbelievable. Can she not see? There has to be everyone has cameras everywhere. There has to be some proof of this.
So, because her kids are nonverbal, she
Hmm.
can't confirm it with the children, and the workers are refusing to tell her the daycare.
I just don't get it. I mean, right is right and wrong is wrong. I just don't get why people aren't just being honest and being upfront. And this is what happened. And this is a situation. It's just unbelievable the information you're giving us today about what's going on in the court system. I mean, it's hard to even imagine it as I'm listening to you share. Um, like being stripped of your advocate, your voice, your support system, not alone just that, but then finding out that your children have been harmed in the daycare. It's unbelievable. So
Yeah.
continue on. Yes.
Yeah, it is unbelievable. And so we actually called 911 last night at the visit. Michaela took pictures. We had the police come out. We had them file a report. The police basically took up for CPS and said it wasn't their jurisdiction. They didn't ask the transporter about the daycare. They didn't ask the name. They didn't ask about the foster families. They lied and said that Michaela did not want an ambulance to take her children to the hospital, and she did. She wanted them to be looked at because her son could have a concussion, and that is, I mean, that there's so many things that could happen, and nobody is protecting these children. This morning, so I posted about that and I posted the pictures. You can log on to my Facebook. You can see these pictures. You can see the black eye, the broken vessel. And then this morning, because I put in there that the caseworker did not contact Michaela, she
Hmm.
gets a text saying, "Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't tell you about the incident."
Oh my God. Okay, that's ridiculous. Where was the adult in the room when these children were being attacked?
We have no idea. We don't even know if this is a true story
Mm-hmm.
because
Mm-hmm.
these children are nonverbal. They cannot tell her what happened. We don't know the daycare. We don't know. We don't like literally they could say any story and that could totally be a lie.
Yeah, I don't know what the solution here is, Sylvia. Do you? I mean, you're working on it. You're using your
Well,
voice to
it's
let people
it's
know.
getting the Yes, I mean, we need the people involved and we need you to get angry and start protecting these children. The police officers need training that they have to follow the law. They can't just say, "Oh well, they're in
Hmm.
foster care." If this happened in her home, if it happened in her home, they would have arrested her. They would
Yep,
have taken the kids in. They would have placed them in foster care.
that's
But
right.
because they're in foster care, they are literally doing nothing. And
And that
I
is
mean,
so wrong on so many levels.
yeah.
How does your organization Rescue the Fosters support, you know, people in this situation, like the Daily family right now? What is Rescue the Fosters doing?
Well, we're doing several things actually. We're filing motions, we're filing complaints, and we are being the voice for Michaela because if Michaela speaks out, they actually retaliate against her.
Mm.
And they'll take visits, they'll do everything. But if I'm speaking for her, then all of a sudden she's getting text messages, paperwork that she's been asking for. So I can't tell everything that we're doing on this case because I don't want
Sure.
to give the enemy the what we're doing. But we are filing motions, we are filing complaints. Um, we will get the 911 call. We will get the 911 body camera. We will be airing that. We will be exposing these people.
Good. The enemy needs to be exposed. The enemy
Yes.
needs to be exposed. And thank you for doing what you're doing. Now, you recently you shared a powerful video titled Forgotten Father, A Stolen Life. Can you tell us about it, like that story and why you felt led to share it?
Yeah, so this is another case that Rescue the Fosters is advocating for. This is a father. He is sitting in prison right now in Massachusetts, and his crime is actually wanting to parent his child. He found out that he had a kid that was in DFAT's custody. Um, he didn't even know when she was born. But a friend was like, "Hey, your baby was born." He was with this girl, and they she got pregnant, and then they broke up. And so he went to DFATS and said, "Hey, I want to take care of my child."
Mm-hmm.
And they said, "Okay, all you have to do is take a paternity test and get an apartment." He did that. He got an apartment with 2 bedrooms. He did everything that they asked of him. Um, the paternity test came back 99.9% positive that it was his child.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's like, "Okay, give me my baby. Like that's all you need, right?" And that's when they started attacking him, saying that he was a drug dealer, a wife beater. They started slandering him, and he literally fought for years. This started when the baby was a month old, and she's 7 years old now. And we recently went to trial, and the reason we went to trial is because the caseworker decided to adopt his child out instead of giving him back.
Wow.
And he said on the stand, she said, the caseworker said on the stand, he did everything we asked for a year and a half. He did everything and she talked really highly about him. I was kind of surprised because I thought she was going to say, he was arrogant, he was rude, he was, none of that. He did everything he asked. He was compliant for a year and a half. And then when I told him that we changed from reunification to adoption, he changed his attitude. Teresa, can you imagine?
No, no, I cannot. I mean, is that how he landed in jail?
So what he did was he recorded her because she was lying under oath
Mm-hmm.
and she was tampering with evidence. She submitted a picture that she like they propped out and then like said he was like the slander is crazy. They said he was a KKK white supremacist and he was standing beside a friend that happened to be African American and they cut him out and zoomed in on him and said that he was a white supremacist and um, told him he wasn't allowed to go to KK meetings. Like, this is how lavish these people get.
Oh my goodness.
So
I
on
mean, it
this,
was all lies, right?
it was all lies. It's all lies, tampering. And so they got him because he said, "No, I want my child and you can't adopt her out. I did everything you asked. And according to the Massachusetts law, you have to give me my child or you have to give it to a family."
Mm-hmm.
His mother was willing to take it. His sister was willing to take her. And he put it in writing, "I'm coming after you." And he said in the next email, with the law.
Mm.
They charged him with harassment, stalking, and wiretapping because he videoed her and got it on video of her lying. So they charged him with that, wiretapping, stalking, and harassment of the caseworker. And then the caseworker said she was afraid for her life.
Sounds like there is a corrupt power behind all of this, Sylvia,
There is.
in the entire system. And why is that? Why did they want to take children away from their biological parents that are good people?
Because of the money. The
Who,
state gets money if for adoption. So adoption, the state receives money. If they give the child back to the family, they receive no money. So it's literally all about money. It's legit child trafficking.
okay, so what about the judges and the workers, the foster care workers? Do they get a kickback or something? I mean, why are they corrupt?
They do. They get, I mean, I tracked her salary. Her salary started at 20,000 in 2020, and at 2024, she was making almost $100,000.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Wow. That is a huge increase. That right there should let people know that is corrupt. Something's going on. Unless she's running the whole system. Sylvia, it's just and I keep saying it's unbelievable because it is the information you're sharing. I'm so thankful that the Lord has given you a voice to speak up for the children. Now, I know you have a podcast on Insight called Rescue the Fosters. And you had mentioned that you're going to talk about this lady tonight who was instrumental in trying to expose what was going on. Why don't you talk about it?
Yeah, so tonight we are going to be talking about Nancy Schaefer. If you've never heard about her, she was a state senator that lost her position because she was speaking about the corruption. She actually has a paper she wrote called The Corrupt Business of CPS, and she was exposing the funding. She was exposing the Adoption Safe and Families Act, which is what they're going by. So basically, the workers, they say you have 15 months to complete a plan or your child goes up for adoption. The Adoption Safe and Family Act gives money to the state for the adoption. And that's the reason that there's so many adoptions and not reunifications because it's incentivized. And so that's what Nancy Schaefer was showing was that it was incentivized. And she was receiving so many calls from families all over, especially Georgia. She was working on a documentary. It was set to be released, and then she was murdered 10 days before it was set to release. Um, and
Wow.
they basically said it was her and her husband that were murdered. They said it was a suicide, that he killed her and then committed suicide. But we all know that that's not really what happened because she was exposing the child trafficking through the foster system.
Sylvia, is there anyone out there in the government that you know of that is trying to help expose what's going on in the system?
No, they're very afraid. They're literally very afraid. It's the funding is so much and so big. It basically funds every city, and this is another thing that Nancy Schaefer was saying. And we're gonna have a lot. Everyone should tune in tonight and just or look up Nancy Schaefer. There's a lot of her interviews that she did. She wrote a bill. She was trying to get, she said foster care needed to be abolished, that there was no reform for it because of the incentivization. And so we're going to be focusing on what she was saying, what she was exposing. And she was really set the stage for us to be able to talk about this because families couldn't figure out why their children were taken and they couldn't figure out what was going on. And then she was exposing that. And Teresa, do you know who wrote that the bill, the Adoption Safe and Families Act?
No.
Bill Clinton,
All right.
1997.
Wow. Wow. Well, there you go. I'm going to leave it at that. I
Right.
mean, Sylvia, I know in our first interview, you gave us a percentage of, you were explaining how many children were actually taken away from their biological parents when there was nothing wrong. Like you gave us instances. What's the percentage of kids in the foster system that should not be there?
So what we're seeing is, and this is their own stats on the Children's Bureau, it's 91% of children in foster care are unsubstantiated reports. Michaela's case is an unsubstantiated report. Chris, the guy that's sitting in the prison, he had no charges of child abuse or neglect. The only charges he had was from the caseworker, harassment and stalking. It's not child abuse and neglect. Um,
91%, Sylvia?
yes, 91%.
That's
So,
unheard of. Someone, I
yeah.
mean, it's got to be getting attention. I mean, people have got to notice this, but I guess they don't know.
Well, I think the public don't know. I think that they believe that if a child was taken, the parent did something wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the stigma we're having to break because they lie, they falsify documents, they tamper evidence. I'll give you another stat. 88% of sex trafficked victims come from the foster care system.
Oh, wow. That's horrible. What
Mhm.
can we do, Sylvia? I'm listening. My heart goes out to you as an advocate and those trying to help. What can we do?
Well, it's good to get involved in your community. So like if you school board meetings are great, like that's, like when the moms get involved, the parents get involved. Going to committee meetings, these people are operating behind closed doors because people don't realize that they can go and they can talk. We actually have more rights. The government is supposed to protect us. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? That's what
Yes.
the Constitution is. It's rules that they have to follow, not us. They must follow them, and they've broken those laws. So it's getting involved in your community. If you don't know, please reach out. I will put you to work.
Okay.
Like churches, we need churches. And if you really don't know what to do and you're like, I want to help, prayer. We need
Yes.
prayer for these children. And like it's not, yes, for the parents are hurting, but imagine with the children. Imagine that child that was attacked and he can't tell
Mm-mm.
his mom what happened. He can't describe what he's feeling. Like we don't know what happened and he
Right.
can't tell us.
Right. Sylvia, we need to do a part 3, so you're going to have to keep me
Yes.
updated. We're out of time. Thank you so much for coming on, talking about
Okay.
Rescue the Fosters, what's going on. Everyone needs to pray and everyone needs to do their part. So thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you for listening. I'm Theresa Rowe. Everyone have a blessed day. Bye.
Thank you for listening to Shaped by Faith with Theresa Rowe. Remember to visit shapedbyfaith.com to find out more about workouts, the TV show, podcasts, blogs, Shaped by Faith products, and much more.